Hello, thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Spiritual Scientist. I'm Victor Hamza. That goes out to you guys and girls. Thanks for tuning in, and don't take that the wrong way. Just wanted to do a video the other day. I did it on my computer, and it kind of was weird, so I had to delete it. But I thought I said some good stuff, so I'll say it again. And it's funny because when I do a video and then I go on and I see other people doing the video, it's like we're all coming from the same point with different points of view, which I love. Um, so I just got a message from somebody. So I had a dream last night I prayed before I dreamed, and like I said, you could pray for an open dream or a prophetic dream before you go to sleep, and then you'll get it during the night once you're connected to source. And I prayed and I said, I just really want to know what my vocation is. And, and then I woke up doing a meditation class, teaching a meditation class and teaching spirituality. So I was like, I knew it. So, it's nice when you get that feedback. So my last video was a meditation, so please check it out. And I have other ones I've done on my channel. You'll have to go back. I have over 100 videos, but wanted to talk about a couple things I saw that was going around that interest me. One of the things I prayed on as well, and I woke up in the morning was that it was not the correct time to talk about more theories about, let's say it that way, about the Mandela effect, or what I know is the truth about certain things. It's not the right time. So I'm not going to do that right now at the present time. But I didn't ask if I can talk about some Mandela effects. Since I didn't ask, I feel like I can. So I'm going to talk about some newer Mandela effects that went down and gone on a little bit. I'm also going to talk about what's going on, obviously, in the news. I think it's important for everybody right now to shelter in place, of course. And I've been agreeing strangely, about what the government's been saying, mostly about, how everybody should protect themselves. But there might be some deception there. But right now, I'm on board with it. The adrenochrome, you'll hear a lot, and you could look it up. It's horrible. What that story is about adrenochrome. What a lot of people don't realize is the forces, I can guess, let's say, the forces of light have been at work about this. And it's been a very, that was not ignored. Let me just say it that way. It was not ignored, and that was taken up to the highest levels. This was really, it's a spiritual war, really upsetting. And for it's just so bad. The adrenochrome situation. So that Mandela effect was that adrenals are not produced by the pineal gland anymore. So I'm not going to talk too deep about it, but what I'm saying to you is that was a Mandela effect change, where the pineal gland is not producing it's not doing the adrenals anymore. It's not producing that. It's now coming from the bones. One of the reasons for that, obviously, was to make it different, so these elites could not reap whatever they were doing, and I don't even want to picture or talk about what they're doing with the adrenochrome and how they get it. But it's a war. I'm not allowed to talk too much about it, but just know that that Mandela effect went in place to prevent certain things from happening. So, it's a spiritual war, and that's what it is. So, the if you don't know, the the adrenal gland, the pineal used to be working with the adrenal gland and producing the adrenals. Now they're made in the bones, and the idea was to make it so, as I understand it, that the whole adrenochrome could not be harvested at all. I'm not sure if that happened. I think it did, but that maybe that's incorrect. It's hard to tell, but I think that maybe they had a supply that they had, and that supply the elites were running out. And I'm giving you some inside information. I'm not going to talk about ongoing things, and I'm not going to talk. I did a little bit, but I'm not going to talk about things that are. This is already actually very much in the past. I'm not going to talk about newer things, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not talking about the Mandela effect as theories, because my theories end up now at this point are facts, and I know what's going on mostly. But again, I don't want to go on. There is a spiritual war, and these things are in play. So the good news is, that those changes were made in the body to, prevent the harvesting. And I don't know if that worked out or not, but the idea seemed to work from the higher end. Anyway, so just thought I'd tell you a little bit about that. I'm looking at some of my notes, not everything about it. And again, my apologies, and I don't mean to sound vague. I do know what I'm talking about. The reason is, to protect, ongoing operations. The John Allison, former CEO of BB&T Bank and the libertarian think tank, the Cato Institute, he's Treasury, is being looked at to be Treasury Secretary. They're thinking about knocking out the monetary, the way it works with the dollar. A lot of people think that's a good thing. This could certainly lead to a market of beasts kind of situation, is how I intuitively felt about it. The three things that he was looking at, John Allison, was insurance companies would not to have insured, rather, in the banks up to $250,000. So one of the things they're looking at in the marketplace is, there are three things. 20% assets at the banks would have to be in place. And that's just like a stupid practice to loan out money you don't have. But they need 20% assets, which is a BS thing with banking. And I made a whole video about that. It didn't come out that well because it was like I was losing contact. But if you're interested, I can make a video about it if somebody messages me. They're looking to get rid of Todd and Frank and Truth in Lending, which I'm not sure is a great idea, and Community the Lending Reinvestments Act. So those are some of the things that John Allison is against and for. When they would go to that. I've been hearing a lot of scuttlebutt about cryptocurrencies. The idea is that one of the, could be changed. Some people think it's a great idea, cryptocurrencies. One of the things is that if the cryptocurrencies go a certain way, then they make it go with the ID plan to ID every citizen, and they tie that in. Here's where it gets scary. They tie that in with the cryptocurrency, and they tie that in with the money. So they're issuing now with the COVID-19, they're going to issue $6 trillion, last I heard, towards, um, you know, to give some of the money will get to people. I'm sure a lot of it's being stolen as it was before in 2008. So when they do finally give the money, you might not get the money as a check. What some people are pushing for is to be issued in a cryptocurrency, a new dollar cryptocurrency. So imagine that you don't want to get the cryptocurrency, but that's how you're issued it. You're like, here's $1,000 or $3,000, but it's a cryptocurrency, and then you're like, what? So that's been banded around a lot. That's being pushed for. I don't know if it's going to happen, but according to my higher sources, I don't have any government sources at this point that I would mention if I did, but that's what I'm feeling. So I'm feeling that is going on, and if they did do it, they would come up with, like I did another video with the RFID chips. If they did an RFID chip, then they could inject, put in a little rice grain and in your hand, and then you got it, and then, but that's your banking, that's everything. I mean, there's a sci-fi part of me that thinks that would be pretty neat, and but then there's the whole biblical aspect of the mark of the beast and all that. They might make it where if you did not have the crypto, like let's say you have COVID-19. Let's say you get tested. Okay, whatever. Let's say you don't have it. You get tested. Now you're let's say you had it and you got tested and you're past it or whatever. Now you have to get a certificate to be out, and now you're certified as having it, right? So now you had it and you're immune. So everybody's immune might have to get a tattoo. A digital tattoo would be, instead of the chip, would be a digital tattoo, and that would be put, right there, or wherever, it'd be a digital tattoo, and then not so invasive, but then you could, buy and sell. So if you did not have that digital tattoo that's showing that you were certified to actually be in public and be in retail, then you wouldn't be able to buy and sell. So that would be the market beast system. So it all kind of makes sense. Now, there's some people who are against that and some people who are pushing for it. How do I know this? One thing is that I spoke to a banker 15 years ago on Wall Street. I'm not always wearing a t-shirt. I was wearing a suit, and I'm there for a certain reason. And we started talking, and lips are loose, and he said, we've been pushing, this is 15 years ago, he said, we've been pushing for digital currency and for people to get chipped for years, and that's our dream. And he was up there, he was in the lead. He's like, this is our dream to get that going. And just imagine, like he told me, and there are other bankers I know who told me, they said, listen, there's people higher up that have credit cards, okay? They have a credit card. Looks like a regular credit card, like MasterCard, Visa, whatever. But then when they use it, it doesn't go anywhere. So I think I talked about this before. So you could buy something. What can I put on my credit card? Oh, can I put this car on my credit card? No. Oh, I want the points. Is it really what some of the higher ups, they don't really want the points. It's not about the points. What they could do with that credit card is it doesn't go anywhere. What that means is it generates a bill and it's automatically paid, but there's no limit. You see, it's not coming from anywhere. That credit card's just reading that everything's paid, and it generates a bill, and the bill gets paid, but it's just made up. It's Does that make sense to you? So there isn't any real money being spent. It's just electronic. It's just electronic saying, "Here's some money." It's just made up. Like it's a credit card that just you run it, and you could buy unlimited amount of funds, and it just, and when the bill comes for it, it's just says that's paid. So you're like, okay, now, and you do have electronically, they have the money in the next one in the account, but it's not money, it's not dollars. It just digitally says that there's this amount there, and they go, oh, okay, and now I have the $20,000. So the guy buys a couch or whatever, you know, $10,000 couch, whatever. He swipes a credit card, pay tax, 20,000, 21.5 or whatever. And I'm doing the math now. That's not 21.5. Never mind. Anyway, so he does it, let's say 21. I can't stop myself from doing the math. It's scary. So he's done that, and it's hard concept to understand, but it's being paid, but it's electronically paid. Not a lot of people know this. So there's these credit cards that they have that they can pay unlimited amount of things with, and it's not, they're not paying it really. It's just hogwash. It's just made up. It's just fake. Like if you had an unlimited credit card, you would have one if you're, let's say you're running a bank, and they say, oh, here's your business credit card, and they issue it to you, and you're like, oh yeah, you have to go through all the societies and everything, and then they give you the credit card, and you go, okay, and then you go and you swipe it, and then you go, oh, okay, I bought it, and they'll just tell you in the society or whatever, they'll just say, we'll pay it, but the people who have the credit card don't even realize that it's just fake. Like it's not like anybody's paying it. It's a hard concept to understand. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. It's a higher level of thinking, really, because where the money's coming from, it comes from a master computer that they have that just generates. It just says paid in full, paid in full. It just sends out any amount that you want to run, because they run the credit card companies. You understand? So they can just say, oh yeah, it's paid. And it's just fake. It's not real. So the reason I mention this is once everybody goes to electronic currency, there are certain people within that who are set up that have unlimited funds. Like they'll have unlimited funds. There's no amount of things that they can't buy. They don't go around like buying everything at once. They have classes where they'll say, okay, they literally have classes. They say, don't buy all these things at once, spread it out, do certain things. Don't do this, you rock the market. Otherwise, we're going to put a limit on your credit card. Or it's not even a credit card, on your ability to, use all this fake money. So, and is that a real thing? Yeah, that's a real thing. Of course. Don't you think the person that invented the credit card company would not have the ability to make it so he doesn't have to pay anything ever? I mean, and these are not just a few people. There's a lot of people who have. And you're thinking of your job. You're like, oh, I'm working 9 to 5. I got my $500 paycheck for the week, and I get my 1 week off a year. And meanwhile, they're just born in the right family, and they just got it. It's just amazing. So I just thought I'd talk about that a little bit. So my feeling is when they go over electronic currency, it's going to get even worse, and maybe they'll get more people involved. Now, talking about Mandela Effects a little bit more, But before I do that, Oprah, I heard, was arrested. Ellen arrested. All these elites getting arrested for all their evil ways. Yay! But you know, I can't confirm that 100%. You're not going to hear this in the mainstream media and the news because that's all, compromised. Um, the 2009 is, as people know who follow Mandela effects, or open up to that higher frequency of knowledge. The H1N1, now it's in parentheses PDM09. It was the PDM09. It's the, we have COVID-19. They have PDM09. Now, there were 60.8 million cases, and I'm just stating facts here. When, as I recall, as of last year, the timeline, let's say timeline, it shifted. There was not that many cases. There was like 1,300 and I want to say 63. That was it. H1N1. There wasn't that many. There was 12,469 deaths in the U.S. But then they put online on the CDC website 8,868 to 18,306 deaths. So it's like the timeline wasn't really sure how many deaths there were. So they put 12,469, but then they said it could have been 8,000, could have been 18,000. We can't tell. So, which I thought was funny. CDC held 60 media briefings. I wasn't aware of any of them, maybe one. There was events, 39 press briefings, okay, 22 large briefings, and there was 35. They say here on the CDC website, they say 35,000 people were reached by these briefings. 35,000 people. You're touting that you, okay, so you have 60.8 million cases, but you only reached 35,000 people when you did your videos. That was it. So you see that this timeline either blended with another timeline, with that timeline, or, whatever. But that makes total no sense, and you could look it up yourself right now. CDC website, you'll see they have 35,000 they reached with their, and that's what I remember. I remember that they reached about 35,000 people when they were showing these videos about, and I don't even remember watching maybe even one of them. I just heard about, oh yeah, there's a small case, and H1N1, and it was only 35. I'm saying the range. It was 35,000 people. So, and now as Google search is open, so now you could search anything. The algorithm is open, and I just put in a couple searches by mistake. I always search for certain things, and I'm like, whoa, this is really out there. So now you could search for anything, which is interesting that people are in lockdown, and I think the government now is looking at who's searching for what, and see where that goes. So maybe they're just giving themselves some rope, so they can hang themselves. Also, there was, I believe, ICE went into with Mexico. They went and arrested one of the largest arrests ever during this lockdown, and they arrested 600, I believe, to 700 cartel members, and they had $22 million worth of methamphetamine, if I'm saying it right, that was confiscated, and it was a big drug ring that they busted, which is pretty cool. So that was something that transpired. So I just thought I'd make this video about updating everybody about what's going on. Certain Mandela effects that I'm allowed to talk about, certain I'm not allowed to talk about, certain things I see, certain things I don't see. So that's the reason if I only do certain from now on, Mandela Effects, they're like blue listed. They're not still highlighted. There was a couple other ones that I thought were telling. Mandela Effects were very interesting. If you want to see, some it's just fascinating. Uh, you could look up, strange bugs, and then you'll look the next day and Google it again, strange bugs, and you'll see different bugs. It's pretty crazy, these bugs. I have to look. There's a new one that looks like an alien bug. That should be very interesting. So check for that. And that's about it. So I thought I'd tell you about that. I'm excited. I'm going to be doing meditation somehow and teaching spiritual workshops. I keep getting that information. I am doing them online. My last one was one. So please check me out. Like, subscribe, share, and find me online, Victor Hamsa, Hamsa, and you could sign up for a group teaching, which is not expensive. While you're in lockdown, do a meditation with me. We'll do one live together. If you want to donate, you can. $15 suggested, recommended. And we're going to get a lot of people together. And afterwards, we have a question and answer session, which is really awesome. I plan on doing them every morning and maybe even more than that. And there's a lot of information I have to teach about meditation that a lot of people don't know. I don't particularly stick, and I haven't been taken under wing of a certain guru. I get a lot of my information from source, and I took that information over the years and years and years and refined it and read a ton and, understand. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, share. Peace out, Cub Scout. And you'll be okay. Don't worry about anything. Bye.